Welcome to The Road Less Traveled with Tiffany Rosenbaum. This podcast is about sharing the success and failure of entrepreneurs. Join in and learn from others' mistakes so you don't have to go through the same hardships in business. Now let's welcome your host, business coach, real estate investor, and proud wife and mom, Tiffany Rosenbaum.
Welcome to another episode of The Road Less Traveled. We are here with Heath, and I'm incredibly excited to talk with Heath. We've actually had him on before, but we're going to dive in. He is one that understands how to sell companies. He's been millions to broke back to millions, and he understands the true meaning of blue collar businesses. Like, you want someone that understands it, you need Heath. Thanks for coming on today, Heath.
Thanks for that intro. That was perfect. I couldn't have done that better myself.
I hope, because I do. I respect you and I look up to you a lot, Heath. Like, you know, when you sit with someone and you know they're real, You are real. And that's who I love to have on the podcast, because entrepreneurs watch and they're going through the struggle, especially blue collar businesses. Mm-hmm. And it's like they look up and they're like, am I ever going to get my head above water? Am I ever going to be able to get where like Heath did and made millions and sold a business, you know? And that's what I want to talk about today really quick is I want to talk about how you knew it was time to sell.
That's a good question. We go a lot of different directions with that conversation, but I'm a strong believer that any businessman should be preparing their business for a sell at all times, even if it's not ready for sale. I mean, if you decide, or even if you're not thinking about selling, if you decide randomly one day that you need to sell that business and you haven't been preparing it, you're going to find yourself backed into a wall that you're not going to be able to have max value exit dollars or whatever else there was. But I sold at a time and got the biggest yield that I believe that I ever could have got at that time, because I was one of the few businesses that were ready and willing to sell. I sold it. I was in a very market-driven business, and I sold at the height of the market. And when I sold, my buddies who owned large truck lines and big businesses were texting me, you know, and I know a lot of people in that industry across the country. They were texting me and saying, "My gosh, you must be the craziest guy on the planet." What we were making millions just operating. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the truckload transportation was making a lot of money post-COVID, and then it didn't take much longer before the market, after I had sold, before the market dropped out from under it. And them same buddies that were texting me were like, "My goodness, how did you have that finger on that?" And sometimes. Can
you tell us what year you sold?
2022.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes you've got intuition, and at the beginning of time, I wasn't thinking that I should sell, but as I started realizing that, the last 2 or 3 years that we've had in this industry is probably the best I've ever seen. History, deregulation was in 1980. That deregulation deregulated the truckload transportation industry, and it was the best combination of 3 financial years for truckload sector since deregulation, since they were tracking that stuff. And everybody always says you sell high and buy low. And
yes.
With that particular business, I timed that one pretty good. But I've timed others poorly too. I mean, you live and learn, but that one I timed pretty good.
But when did you decide to prep to sell? Because you sold in 2022. When were you like, you know what, I need to actually think about this?
Yeah. To be honest, I had acquired a couple truck lines. And big truck lines. And after I had acquired them and got them integrated into my truck line, I realized that these guys probably could have got a lot more money if they were a little bit more prepared. And so at the time, I began preparing even without the decision to sell. And, I felt like we were pretty prepared, even though it wasn't for sale. But to be honest with you, the day I decided to sell was the day I signed the LOI. And,
oh, wow.
and I was still 50-50 going right into it. But I felt confident we had done all the right things, crossed all our T's right, dotted our I's. And, I meditated about it, and, I prayed about it, and I felt like the time is now, and the amount of people that are out there that could use some help and use some guidance in this is in this type of business and blue collar space is infinite. And listen, I've been eating Kobe steak for a lot of years, even before I sold, and that's pretty rewarding to be able to not have to look at the price on the menu. But I think ultimate reward is to do it and then make a plan to help others. And I know you do a lot of that as well. So, so when I decided to sell, I said, I think our ducks are in a row, and I think I got a bigger calling out there to help in any way I can in the blue collar space.
Impact the lives around you. Isn't that what it's really about? It's so much about. But what I want to go back to just a tad is because I think it's so intricate what you're saying, and I want our viewers to understand this, because just like your friend, why would you sell? Why would you sell? Why would you prep to sell? The reason why it's so incredibly important is because when you are prepping to sell, it doesn't mean you have to sell.
No.
But when you're prepping to sell, you're getting your business to run like a business and not a sole entrepreneur. In the blue collar industry, a lot of times you'll see a sole entrepreneur that runs a one-man shop. How many times do you see that?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
So do you help people grow their teams to go, look, you got to get out of the day-to-day so you can actually be a business?
Well, as you know, teams are a big part of it. People don't buy, private equity groups or other people that are buying companies. They don't buy owners. They prefer to buy teams and infrastructure. And so it's a big thing. You got to develop your team. You got to make it so that the business runs well. And then it's the new buyer's responsibility to take over your role as a leader. And some people aren't real good at that. They've got this new team and a well-oiled machine, but can they lead that team? And so the other question I was going to ask you, you asked me a question, is when did you decide to sell? I think the rhetorical question on that is when you start a business. I know you're in a lot of different businesses, successful businesses. You're a mover and shaker as well. But when you get into business, what is your plan? Or do you want to be a businessman or businesswoman because you just want to say you're a businesswoman, right? So you don't plant your garden just to be able to say you have a garden, right? You plant your garden to be able to harvest it one day. And I think the ultimate harvest is to plant a perfect garden and build a perfect business and get it prepared to harvest, which the harvest is the sell of the business. And then plant another one and help
100%.
More people out.
100%. And I like how you said that harvest, or, you talked about it like that. The business, to get it prepped to sell, can be a legacy that you're leaving as well. Like, think about it. If you have kids, like, they can come into it. It's a legacy. It's not just, I think the sell is amazing. I've done it before. I've bought and sold. It's incredible, the experience. But prepping, like, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
I love that saying because it's so true. And so many times, as we were talking about blue collar, and what I see in blue collar a lot is that you'll have one person that says, hey, I see on social media that I can become an entrepreneur. Well, then they get into the entrepreneurship, but they don't know how to do marketing. They don't know how to do accounting. They don't know how to do sales. They know how to, let's take plumbing. They know how to be a plumber. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is you've just created a job that you probably make less in, and you're not creating a business. Like you said, do you want to be a business owner just to say you're a business owner, or do you actually want to be a business owner that can leave a legacy, or you can harvest?
Well, let me tell you, if you will, my opinion. You said legacy a couple of times. Let me tell you how I feel about that.
Okay.
I don't want to build and leave my kids a legacy. I want to teach them how to build their own legacy. Okay. And so I can build this multi-million-dollar empire and hand it over to my kids. Well, number one, what if my kids don't want it? Number two, the most gratifying thing that I want to teach those kids that they can do, the most gratifying thing they can do is build their own legacy and go to work. You know, use me as a mentor, use my connections, use my work ethic, use what you've learned from me, and go build your own thing. There's a lot of second and third generation wealth, but that's just not my style. I'll tell you a really quick story. I won't get too sidetracked, but this is what I want to teach my kids, how I want to teach my kids to think. There was a year or two ago, one of my sons and I were climbing off of my jet at an FBO at an airport, and we were having a conversation, and there was a jet that was like 5 times the size of mine. And I said, I didn't even look at that jet. I climbed off of mine, and we were having a conversation about business. And I said, if you do all the right things, you take all the right notes, and you make good decisions, and you learn from your bad decisions, you'll be able to buy a jet like mine. And my son looked at me and he says, I don't want a jet like yours. I want a jet like that one. I want a jet that your jet will fit in my jet. And, you know, every kid's different. You know, some kids don't have the desire to do that. But that's what I want to teach my kids is build your own legacy. As far as blue collar space goes, that's why I'm really empowered to help the blue collar space, because you made some other comments that I want to address. So many friends of mine and people that I've gotten acquainted with and people that I coach or people that I talk to are badass, hardworking blue collar dudes.
100%.
And they make pretty good livings by running their blue collar business. But they're making that money because of the elbow grease they put into that business. You take them out of that business, and that business is no longer what that business was. And so they are doing exactly what you mentioned. They've bought themselves a job, and they have a tough time pivoting that job to being a viable asset. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but how many blue-collar millionaires do you know that have made themselves blue-collar millionaires because of hard work? But, you know, when they pass away and their business is left behind, there's nothing there for their family because you took them out of their business, right? And so I'm really passionate about that and saying, hey, you started as a skills tradesman. You started as a skills a laborer with skills, but that's not where it ends. You need to develop. You can make good money as a skillsman, but you need to develop your business acumen and your business skills and make it so that, hey, something happens to you, your family's got something to sell and move on. Something happens to you and you don't do that, pretty much you had a job. And that's good. That job provided good for your family, but
it's not an asset when you pass away.
It's
a liability at that point.
Build an asset. Yep.
No, you actually said something very important. Like when I talk about legacy, I don't just talk about leaving it to a kid, because statistics show if it's multi-generational funds coming down, by the 3rd generation, it's gone 9 times out of 10, because they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to work hard. They don't have the work ethic. They don't know how to go in and go, okay, how do I build a team? Because mommy and daddy did that. What you said was intricate, so important. So when you're building business, when our viewers are seeing this, when we talk about legacy, it's not just handing it off. It's teaching the mentorship. It's teaching how to work hard. It's teaching all these things, what a business can do when they see mom and dad working their butts off to make sure a team's in place, to make sure it's an asset instead of a liability. I think there's so much more behind that than just handing something to someone, because I don't think you should ever just hand something to someone.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's incredibly important. And what you said was, the next step was really important. A lot of people put themselves in a job. The problem is, like you said, when they pass, that job is no good to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, you got to build something that it continues to run.
Yeah.
But that asset can impact people around the world because of what it can give back. It can impact people. And that's what I look at businesses for. I look at a business as a living, breathing organism. It should give life to many, not just one.
Yeah. Listen, there's a million ways to raise your kids, and I don't know that I know the right one. I don't know, you know, and there's so many elements that are outside of our control. But it isn't building something to pass on to your kids. When people say that to me, I cringe. What you need to pass on to your kids is something that someone can't take away from them.
It's hard.
Right? You teach them work ethic. You teach them how to negotiate deals. You teach them how to love others. You teach them how to speak to others. You teach them to care just as much about the truck driver as they do about the chairman of the bank. That's what you leave with your kids. And if you leave that with your kids, I don't have any super old kids, but I'm confident that if you leave those skills with your kids, nobody can take away those skills, and they will do something with it. And I believe in that. We'll check on it 20 or 30 years from now, but I believe that's what you need to do.
100%. Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner can teach so much. And I actually run my family life, since we're talking about kids, family life very similar to a business. We have a planning session every Sunday because there's no way we'd get anything done if we didn't. So we sit down, we plan the entire week, we look at it, and we go, and it's all put on the calendar. I'm like, where are you going to be? Where are you going to be? Because all my kids play guitar, piano, and sports. And I'm like, there's no way I can run 5 businesses and this unless we have a planning session. And so we sit down. When you're talking about that, I'm like, oh my goodness. And I was reading a book, and I can't remember it, but it talks about how a family is another source of a business.
Can I just say that badass business moms are aliens to me? I mean, when I've had to, do my part of being the mom of the house and do all the running around and run a business, if the men of the world had to do that, this world would be a completely different space. I mean, for badass business moms to be able to juggle like yourself all those things in the household, and it's interesting that you say that's how you handle that. But for you guys to do that and still be successful in all your endeavors is like aliens. It's crazy. It's awesome. You should be proud of yourself because I've had my day here and there where I've got to do that side of it and the business side of it. And I think you'd find a lot of men crying, crawl up in the corner of the room saying mercy pretty quickly. So,
but you said something. This is why I look up to you so much, because I've seen how you parent. Like, you're such a freaking good dad. And when it comes to business or whatever, you don't give up on your kid time. Like, I've seen that. You're like, hey, I have an appointment with my child, And it's like, you know how many people who do that? Not very many. And if you have your core values, it runs smooth. And so a family is a team. Business has to have a team, each side. So my kids actually cook one night every week.
Oh, that's awesome.
But anyways, we could talk family forever. I love how this has gone. But how have you gone in and helped blue collar businesses to build their teams? Because like you said, you're really passionate about that. And let's dive into that. I think it's really important.
Well, listen, we're helping a fraction of the amount of people out right now that we want to be helping. And the first step is getting it out there that this is who I am and this is what we want to do, and we want to help, and we want to build communities, and we want to help build success stories, and so on and so forth. But the easy answer is the cheat code that I found is the cheat code, and that's surrounding yourself with the right people. And I joined, I was already a millionaire, but I found my growth to becoming worth even more, a significant amount more, coming from a pivot point in my career when I discovered that joining groups of badass businessmen and business people, businessmen, businesswomen, to learn from them and them to learn from me was a huge pivot point in my career and in my business career. And so step number one is to build something for which we got to get you in it. It's called the Blue Collar Union. Edgar asked, my guy Edgar that works with me asked if you were in the Blue Collar Union yet. And I said, I haven't even thought.
I wasn't invited.
You're invited now, but
I'd love to be.
The thing is that, I really struggle with the coaching space where you could hire me for whatever it is. Let's just pick a number, $2,000, $3,000 an hour. And I really struggle with the idea that coaches will get on there for that expensive amount of number, charge you for that, blue collar people for that expensive dollar amount, and coach you. And because I believe that the most successful businessmen aren't successful because they're brilliant at all things. they're successful because they surround themselves with people that are brilliant in all things. And so that's what I did in becoming a blue collar millionaire. And I want to create an environment where people are part of my community, where I can help them do the same things. The people that have helped me, the people that have educated me on accounting, on law, on all the different things, I want to surround those people with. And then there's another level to that is, people that aren't there to teach you a specific skill, they still have a lot of value if they're wanting the same things as you, if they're wanting to be elevated, if they're wanting growth, whether it's business growth, fitness growth, whatever it is. You have to surround. So many distractions in this world. So I can surround you with all my people that taught me. Okay, so I want to do that in my community. That's step number one. But I also want to surround you with killers, people that are on the same mission as the other people in the group. So you ask the question, what do you do? What are you doing? How are you doing this? Step number one is building out my community. I'm not gonna get you on an intro coaching call meeting and tell you that I'm the best guy for all the different things. If you need a little motivation and you need to hear different things about areas, M&A advisory or whatever that I find myself to be very knowledgeable in, great. I'll charge you for that. But if you want to become the next blue collar millionaire, your best stop is not to pay me a lot of money to coach. It's to join my community where other people within that community, the Tiffanys of the world, and other people that have checked off the boxes of some of those pathways can teach you and elevate you. And so that's the first step that I'm on in my journey, is to gather people together. It's exactly what I did.
I love that. I love, because so you said the coaching space, and I love the coaching space because I help people. But
it's a good thing.
It is, but at the same time, a coach is only usually good at like one thing.
Yeah.
Really good at one thing. Like
Yeah.
either they have an accounting background, or either they have a law background, or they have a business background within their business that they did.
Or building teams, or whatever it is.
So I'm going to let you in on a little bit something that I did, because your community is similar. So I'm hoping to be a part of your community. I'm excited about this, that
You're
invited
gonna
me.
be.
Yeah. But how I've done it, because you said about the experts. So in all my companies, I set up a board. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, I need this individual for this. I need this lawyer for this. Mm-hmm. And I need this. And then we have quarterly meetings, and the board comes together and just talks about our needs. Mm-hmm. A lot of young entrepreneurs can't afford something like that. But like you're creating it in your community, you're saying. I think that's insane. If you have the experts of everything, then it's like you have people you can ask, and everybody's on this journey together, and the lives that you're going to impact, it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, listen, attorneys, accountants, marketing people, whatever it is, they're on there right now sharing articles, right? And then, every week I have these people that have helped elevate me to becoming who I am today. A different one every week is teaching different aspects, whether it's law or accounting or whatever else. And then when they teach that to the community, you can click on them and contact them. For example, I know you're really good at team building. Maybe you're part of the community and you come on as a guest speaker of the community. Well, we leave that up there because I want anybody that's struggling in my community with team building to be able to click on you and potentially hire you or talk to you if it's just basic talk, or hire you to help them in building team. That is how we build multi-million-dollar empires. We build multi-million-dollar empires by surrounding us with the experts that our business needs at the time. And every business and every human is different. So I'm a big believer in coaching, but 100%. If I want to be the best NFL football player, I'm not going to go hire a three-point shooting coach from the NBA. And so that's maybe where the coaching space, I think, has gotten a little bit veered off track, is you see all these people with big belt buckles and no ranches. And that bothers me a little bit, because it's like, don't sell them a big expensive coaching package until you know what they need. And then if you want to pay me a lot of money to coach you, I'm probably going to coach you for a minute, and then I'm going to be the first one to say, hey, I'm not the best coach for these particular things that your business needs, but you need to be in my community because I got a few people in the community that could help you out a lot.
I love that, because you never hear a coach say, I'm not the best at this. But I say it all the time. Like, I can help you with this, but I'm not going to help you with this. You need to find someone really good. And I could talk about the coaching space all day long, because if you are looking to hire a coach, you should be asking the in-depth question. You be interviewing them just like they're interviewing you.
Yeah.
And I was talking to someone, they're like, yeah, I hired this coach. I'm like, why'd you hire him? Like, because he just looked good. And I'm like, wait, what?
He's got a lot of followers?
Yeah. I'm like, did you actually ask how they're going to help improve your business?
Yeah.
Like, what's the game plan? What's behind it? Why are they even a coach? You know, did they have a business before and did it fail? I think that is the biggest thing we're seeing in the industry. And you'll see coaches get out of business because they struggled in business, but they can sell a coaching package because they're a salesperson.
Yeah. Well, you know, I got a twofold opinion about that. I've got more businesses that have failed than have ever succeeded. But the key is if I had everything fail, you probably wouldn't want to hire me. But I learned how to succeed in businesses that I've had from the failures. So I could teach a lot of people on failures, but I can also teach how I learned from those failures and how it made my coaching, or my biggest businesses to what they are from learning from those failures. So listen, coaching and booking coaches is the cheat code of the 21st century. I believe it is. But you need a different coach. You and your business, you personally and your business needs a different coach with different expertise at different times of your life. Don't book me just because I got a lot of followers if I had a lot of followers, or book this guy because he had a lot of followers and he looks really cool. You know, I see people out there booking coaching sessions and they're ex-movie stars. And it's like, or they were, they had TV series, reality TV series, or whatever that is. Now, I'm not discounting that, right? But I'm saying be careful. Coaches are expensive. Make sure you have the right coach for the right time, for the right thing in your life and for your business's life. And I'm a big proponent of that.
I love that you said that, because it's true. It's the right time. 9 times out of 10, you have to change coaches to continue to elevate. And I'm really big on being able to fail. Really big on that, because if you aren't willing to fail, you're not willing to make the hard decisions to actually get to the next level. It's just a matter if you've had some successes.
Yeah,
too.
you mentioned it on my intro, but I was a millionaire once from nothing. I didn't grow up with anything. Became a millionaire. Went to ground zero again. Became a millionaire again, twice in 20 years, both in the blue collar sector. And there was a lot of failures in there, and there was just enough wins. And those are the things that I can talk to people about, the things that I've learned on both sides of that spectrum, and some of the specific things that they might need in their business. I want to introduce them to the people that helped me.
I love, I think that's one of the reasons why I ultimately really respect you, to find someone that has gone from nothing to millions, but then went back down, but then fought their way back up. That's a whole nother person than just someone that went from nothing to millions, because they've realized, okay, I lost it again. How do I get back up? And fighting that next mountain, that's even harder because you've already had it.
Yeah.
And to go to nothing and go, oh my gosh.
Oh, here's the deal. There's a lot of people in this world that we all know that have never and will never make millions in their life. And maybe they don't. Millions isn't what everybody wants, but I believe it creates a lot of freedom, all right? 100%. So there are some people that haven't even done it once or will never do it once. So to be able to do it twice, I think is pretty commendable. And what you got to remember is that some people don't, and I didn't want to talk about this for years. I'm just barely getting here in the last couple of years, getting a little more open about talking about my big failures, right? But the second time around, now you have $0, a tarnished reputation because you failed, and a shitty credit score. So the cards are stacked against you even more. Right? And the only thing you have that you can do it with a second round, or if some people have to do it a third round, is your skills and your knowledge. And so try buying businesses and growing businesses and scaling businesses with a crappy credit score and a tarnished reputation from failing once. It's not easy, but it can be done.
That's why I said I really respect you, because it's even harder. Like you said, the cards are stacked against you. So I want our viewers to realize it happens. You fell again. Get back up. Keep going. Like it's ultimately our own successes or our own failures. We can decide, do we want to keep going? And I guarantee, and you can tell us, but you going up that second mountain had to have been really hard.
Oh, I had something to prove that time. I think I told you the last time I tell people, I don't know if I was getting talked about at dinner tables, but I felt like I was, and I wanted to give them something to talk about, So, it's fun to give everybody a show, and we're still at first base, Tiffany. That's how I feel. I wake up every morning thinking like I have so much more to accomplish, and who do you want to be? What do you want to be in people's eyes? And, money is a scoreboard for me. Money is freedom for me. But when I die, I don't know how much gratification my family will get if a bunch of people show up and say, that was the richest guy I knew, right? I want them to show up and say, that guy introduced me to some of the most amazing people that helped me changed my family's life. Plus, he helped me change my family's life. And now we're better off because of it, right? So there are a lot of people that become wealthy and then they don't want anything to do with helping other people. And they're a different person at that point. And I fight it every day. I never want to be that person.
I'm going to pinpoint something you said there because I want our viewers to understand this. In business or in life, it's all about the relationships you create, the people you help. If it's only the money's not going to come.
Yeah.
Actually, when you build relationships and you impact people's lives, the money follows, right?
There you go.
I remember the first time we came on, and I'm going to shorten the story, but the first episode we had with you, which this is your second, because we liked it so much, you told me about a story about you helping someone out with not even knowing if it would ever come back to you. He needed help with his trucks to get back to a different state. And you said, yeah, I'll help. Like the relationship you had to build with that man through that had to have been something that he was ultimately grateful for. But then what happened at the back end? Tell us that. What did he do for you?
Yeah, so that story where he had financed somebody some trucks, a bunch of brand new trucks, and they were stranded all across the country because the people he had financed had went under. And he didn't even know how to drive a truck. He didn't know how to get them back. And somehow he ended up on my phone. And I said, look, I'll get a hold of your drivers. I'll mail them a fuel card, and I'll get your trucks back to you. And this happened to be at a time where I wanted to grow my truck line. But, the banks were only wanting to play ball a certain amount. And he had a bunch of brand new trucks, and I got them back to him. Next thing you know, I ended up on a phone call with him again, and he invited me to dinner. And I went to dinner, and he said, I want to finance all these trucks for you at a really low interest rate. You tell me the terms that you can pay. And like that, my truck line grew double, maybe even triple overnight when the banks didn't want anything to do with me. And I think that stemmed from, lots of different reasons, but primarily from my ability and my willingness to help him out when he needed a time when he needed some help getting his trucks back. But my whole business journey is speckled with those kind of stories, and I think there are a lot of people out there like me. I'm not the only guy, but I try to make a point to help as many people as I can, and some of those paybacks may never come, and some of those paybacks might be when I'm 100 years old. We'll just see.
How many blue-collar businesses are you wanting to help? Because you mentioned that in our discussion.
Thousands.
Okay.
Thousands, hundreds. I want people going into my blue-collar union and posting on the thread of different strategies, thoughts, things they learned from me or from my people that helped them build their business into a success, whatever that success might look like for them.
I love that you said that, whatever that success might look for like to them, because every success story is different, right? Because we all have different goals. And I think, and we started out the conversation with making sure we were ready to sell the business, getting prepped to sell the business, planning to sell the business. And then you're saying every success story is different. And I think that's what starts it out. We have to start with a plan and going, what is the plan? What does my success look like? Where does my journey want to go? Like I said at the beginning, failure to plan is you're just planning to fail, you know? Yep. So what is your next step?
You know, we're on a mission to just get out there. And we're on a lot of stages between now and the end of the year. We'll be on like a road show. I mean, we'll be on stages probably for the next year. That's awesome. Year and a half of my life. But we need to get out there. We need to introduce people to our union. And then we need to, not only do we need to get people to join our community and introduce people to our union, I tell my entire staff that works for Ultimate Blue Collar, then we have to perform. Then we have to, once they join the union, we've got to be continually building value in there for them all of the time. And so the next step is just getting it out there, who we are, what we're doing. We want to help. My phone's open. Text me, message me on the union. I want to talk to people. I'd rather have a 15-minute or half-hour phone call with someone for free and steer them in the right direction than a 15 or half-hour phone call trying to convince them to hire me as a coach. I really would.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So many people just need some guidance on what direction. But a lot of people also want free guidance. And
yes, you got to be careful of that.
If you want to be the next blue collar millionaire or blue collar millionaire babe, you're gonna need to invest in yourself a little bit. You know, you don't get in shape without buying a gym membership, right? And the people that are out there that want to invest in themselves a little bit, those are the people we want to help.
You talk about investing in yourself. I always relate this back to going to the gym or working out every morning. And it's not the first rep that changes you. It's that last rep when you're tired and you're exhausted and you're going through the grind of being an entrepreneur and you're like, I don't know where the next step is. But you invest a little bit more. You invest and do the Blue Collar Millionaire community, and you join that group and you talk to the people and you discuss, hey, what problems are you having? Because business is business. If you're willing to discuss your problems, you're willing to have that mastermind or community and discuss it, everybody, if they will bring their problems and discuss it, 9 times out of 10, if you're $1 million business, you're kind of having the same problems. If you're 3 million, kind of having the same problems. 10 million, 100 million, the money shows the problems you have. Yeah. Depending on what your revenue is. And I like that you're creating that because I think it's important.
Yeah. 2 really powerful things that I believe in very strongly. You have to be committed and disciplined and regular, right? And you have to be very adaptable. And what if I was to tell you that I believe that every day of your life, and I believe this, every day of your life will be a good day, will be a happy day, but you're going to have to be the most adaptable human being that you've ever met on the planet. And that goes for business. Business, you have to be adaptable. And then you have to be consistent. I was working out at a gym a month or so ago, and there was a guy that walked up to me while I was working out. And he says, hey, I've seen you in here a little bit working out at the gym. And he just started having a conversation with me. He's like, what do you think the appropriate amount of time to work out in the gym is? And he wasn't in very good shape, right? And he's like, I come in here and I work out for a couple hours. And I said, listen, I've worked out for, obviously I'm not Arnold, but I've worked out for 45 minutes to an hour for several years. That's how I'm staying good shape. And the difference is consistency. You have to be disciplined enough to be regular. So come in for 2 hours. But if you're not coming in for 2 hours every day, you're not going to get anywhere. So adaptable and consistent or regular. Those 2 things are some of the most powerful things that I think anybody can incorporate in their life. And if you can incorporate adaptability, you're starting on the right pathway to become a business success. You have to be adaptable. And no bad days if you're adaptable. Trust me. Now I still have bad days every once in a while, but I talk to the demons in my head, and we talk to each other, and we say, hey man, you're not being very adaptable to this problem. And so if you can be very adaptable, you can have a very good day and you can grow every day. I really believe that.
Oh, I love that you're talking about this, because I'm huge on this. Someone came to me and goes, I just don't feel motivated today. And I'm like, dude, motivation is a feeling.
Yeah.
It will come and go. What keeps you going is the discipline to understand that I don't care. I get up and I just do it.
Yep.
Like someone said, why do you go through the cold plunge every morning, Tiff? And I said, it sucks. Yes, it does. It hurts. Yes, it does. But does it make me better? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So like if I can answer yes to all those things, then it's great. And the same thing with the gym is learning how to enjoy the journey. Not just going for the result, because that's why people buy a gym membership in January and say, I have a New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is by week 4, they quit because they were motivated January 1 because everybody's doing it, right?
Yep.
But by week 4, everybody stops talking about it. So, I don't feel motivated anymore. I don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Someone turned to me and goes, Tiff, 4 a.m., no, I'm not doing it. And they go, why do you get up at 4 a.m.? I said, because that's the time that it takes. And they're like, aren't you tired? I'm like, I'm tired whether I'm on. I mean, a choice, I feel, this is how I look at it. Being tired is almost like a choice because we're learned, our human nature is to say we're tired or it's hard. But why don't we just say, I'm excited, I'm energized, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So I cold plunge a lot, almost every morning. And it's the health benefits of cold plunging are enormous. There's podcasts of people talking about all the health benefits. But you want to know what I'm going to break this down simple to you.
I'm excited.
I start my day by taking control of my day by doing the very first thing I do every morning is hard.
Oh, yeah.
And that's to get in that cold water. So all the health benefits are great, but I started my day doing something hard and uncomfortable that I didn't want to do.
And you proved to yourself you can do it.
Everything else in the day is easy, right? So if you can start your day, we've all heard that talk from the military general that talks about get up and make your bed, right? Start your day with doing something. And I get up and make my bed, but I also get up and I start with doing something really hard, and that's getting in the cold plunge. I do it a lot. It's got a lot of great benefits, and it never gets easier.
No, it doesn't.
But I start my day with something hard.
I wholeheartedly agree with you that you got to do something hard in the morning, because if you're not, then you're not showing yourself that you can actually do anything. Like, that's what my morning is for me. That's why I ruck in the morning. I do cold plunge in the morning. All those things that once you do it, you're like, I don't care what else hits me. I can go in and do it. How long have you been doing cold plunge?
Not within the year. I've been doing it consistent. I mean, I've done it before just because I've worked out a lot and I've jumped in for my muscles, but to recover my muscles. But I would say about 8 to 9 months, I've been doing it consistently every morning. And I've been in there a ton, and it never gets easier. It gets easier, after about 3 minutes. But it never gets easier the first couple of minutes. Never.
It sucks. I call it the suck.
Yep, it's the suck. Yep.
But don't you find in business you go through the suck too?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely. I mean, it's you have to be able to go through hell with a smile on your face and with the ability to make a plan and a strategy and a roadmap to get out of hell. And very good businessmen can do that.
They can.
And but listen, I've always said you're not maximizing your business capabilities if you're not constantly walking on a tight wire of being broke and filthy rich. That's my life, and that's my life is walking on a tight wire of being. And so many people, they start making a lot of money, then they get in cruise control, and my ADD won't allow me to do that. I got to be out grinding every day, putting it on the line. So,
But that's how people level up, because in business, you get to a plateau. And if you're not willing to put it on the line, you're not getting to the next level. So you have to put it on the line. You have to. That's why Elon Musk is where he's at.
Yeah.
That's why Jeff Bezos is where they're at. Like if you listen to any of their books, they'll talk about the billions they will lose and failures because they're willing to lose it to gain the big wins. And so they're always on that tightrope.
And you have to be willing to lose money. You really do. The goal is to make more money than you lose, but businesses will lose money at times, and they'll challenge you, and it's up to you to figure the jigsaw puzzle out.
It's definitely just jigsaw puzzle. I love it. I have 3 questions real quick. I think we did this last time, but I do it almost every podcast. What's the best advice you've ever received, Heath?
Well, business advice. I got one of my mentors told me at one point in time that you're a successful businessman when you're making money when you're sleeping. And I use that little piece of advice in everything I do. And the other piece of advice that I've gotten several times throughout my career, sometimes I've been really good at it and sometimes I haven't. But I'm reminded of it all the time, and I really try. But when it comes to your family, you have to be present. And some of the best piece of advice that I've gotten and that I give. How many businessmen do you know that they sit on their phone and they're texting while they're with their kids? Now, obviously, there's exceptions. We're businessmen, so we have to do things. But I can tell you, my older kids, my adult kids, very rarely got a present dad. And
I was about to raise my hand here.
Yeah.
I've done it. I'm working at it because presents.
And I strive to give my kids now, my younger kids, which it's sad that but even my older kids, I'm more present with them than I ever was, and my younger kids, I strive to give them a present dad all the time.
You know what?
When they're around.
Yeah, 100%. And so the meeting that I told you that I do on Sundays, that we sit down and it's like an hour and a half meeting. It's long. My kids are like, "Are we done yet?" I'm like, "No, we have to plan." But it's allowed me to be more present because I cut off at a certain time. I'll go back to work if I need to when they're in bed or whatever. But it's allowed me to be more present. So again, going back to plan to succeed. You plan to succeed. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail.
Yeah.
The other advice that you gave, which I love because I live by this, you become a real success when money's working for you.
Yeah.
And that should be the ultimate goal. If you are creating a job that we talked about during this podcast, then the money's not working for you. You're actually chasing the money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do have a job, great. But what are you doing with the money that comes in from the job? Are you investing it to make sure, investing it in yourself, investing it into a business you want to create so that you're making sure the money starts working for you? Because money can be the biggest asset. I love that you brought this up, and I'm really passionate about it because when you're on vacation, what's happening? 9 times out of 10, people aren't making money.
Yeah.
But it should always be working. I was brought up, and my dad would always say this, and it didn't click until later on in life. He said, whatever you're working at, you better have something on the side working more, making more than you can ever dream of. And it's still just rolling in when you're on vacation. If you have a kid in the hospital, which I had an experience with this, no matter what you're doing, it's working for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. What is the worst advice you've ever received?
Well, that's a good question. I usually try to get the bad advice out and purge the bad advice out of my head as quickly as I can. I can't think of any bad advice. If I've had bad advice and I remember it, it's because I didn't do a good enough job purging that advice out of my head. But I'm sure there's a lot of bad advice that I've received. You caught me on the spot.
No, but you actually answered it perfectly, Heath. Because I want our viewers to hear this. Because 9 times out of 10, when we hear something, we internalize it. And you just answered it. This is why you're very successful. Because when someone tells you bad advice or a negative comes in, you're like, leave that to a side. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurs have to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
People have to learn how to purge the bad and keep the good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get way overwhelmed with all the bad.
Yep.
Because there's going to be things that hit the fan on a daily basis when you're in business. You know, there's going to be the bad advice, so you just got to purge it. What is, if you can recommend one book for our viewers, what book would you recommend for them to read to implement and to gain knowledge to be a great leader and entrepreneur?
The recent book I've read is from Ed Milet. It's the One More.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? The One More. Ed Milet is just a
love
stud of a guy. I also read one, I can't remember the name of it, but I'll tell you, it's Michael Jordan's trainer. I've heard him speak before. He's a very good book writer. He talks about, training Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and I can relate a lot to those people those athletes and the things that they're working on mentally, and because a successful businessman has to go through a lot of the same things. They got to train themselves mentally, but those are some good, powerful books. Clear back in the day, I've read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad probably 2 or 3 different times. I've read some of the other books in his series. I read a lot of books, and sometimes I'll reread them and read them again. I have a book coming out, should be out in November. I'm excited for that book. It's going to be really cool. And awesome. It'll be fun for people to get a real good, deep inside dive on my journey. I'm excited for it to come out.
I'm excited for that. That's awesome. You're going to have to keep us posted on that so we can post about it, because we'd love to. Yeah. Heath, we love having you on. We appreciate you.
I love it.
Your community, if they want to find you, what is the best way?
Yeah, it's Union. So it's Union. Let me just look, because I told somebody last night, and I told them wrong. So it's union.ultimatebluecollar.com. And, I want you to look at this as it's a little bit like Instagram, but it's with nothing but business knowledge, faith knowledge, fitness knowledge, family knowledge, things that are going to help elevate people to another level. And then once a week, there's smart business coaches that have helped me achieve what I have achieved. And once a month is a powerhouse speaker. So awesome. Andy Elliott's speaking on there, Sean Whalen, Marcus Luttrell. I mean, there's once a month you get to hear a good powerhouse speaker if you're part of the union. That alone, these guys charge $1,000 to go listen to them speak. So that alone is well worth being part of the membership, outside of all the other benefits, the community benefits that you get. Now I sound like I've turned into a salesman on your podcast.
No, not at all. I love it. So we appreciate you, Heath. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning in today to The Road Less Traveled. If you're organizing an event, workshop, or simply planning something exciting and would like to have Tiffany Rosenbaum join you, or want to have her on your podcast, visit TiffanyMRosenbaum.com and click on Book Tiffany to get started.